Hello, everybody. In this video, as promised, we're going to talk about how do we iterate through nested for loops by hand. So how do we understand what's going on just kind of with a piece of paper and pencil, perhaps. So motivating this is a very common quiz question. So maybe something like this will show up on the pencil and paper quiz today or a checkpoint exam later in the quarter. And it's saying list all the values A takes in order. And here A is going to be a matrix that we're building. So you can see here we're assigning each entry of A some value. And what this question is asking for is for us to basically say, here's what A looks like at every step of the for loop. So something important to keep in mind is when we have these nested for loops, so we enter this outside one, so I is going to be equal to 1. We enter the second for loop, and the idea is we have to complete this entire for loop before we go back and change I from 1 to 2. So the idea is when I is equal to 1, we go through this entire for loop. Then we set I equal to 2, and we go through this entire for loop again. So let's see what's going on here. In the first iteration, we have I equal to 1 and J equal to 1. So then A of 1 comma 1, this is 1 equal to I plus J, so 1 plus 1 is 2. And what that means is, well, A is just equal to 2. Now we can leave it like this just as a number, or we can put square brackets around it to kind of emphasize that we're building a matrix, but either is fine. So we've done J equal to 1. Now we're going to update J to be equal to 2, but I is still equal to 1. So now I is equal to 1, J is equal to 2, and we have A of 1 comma 2 is equal to 1 plus 2, so that's just 3. Now, here's a very common mistake. If you were to just write something like this on an exam, I can see that you've done the math correctly, but all you've written here is that the first comma second position of A is equal to 3. But the question is, what does A actually look like at that step? So what it is we have A equal to, so remember the 1 comma 1 position is 2, and now we know the 1 comma 1 position is 2, and the 1 comma 2 position is 3. So A looks like this vector 2 comma 3. Now we update J to be equal to 3. Remember, I is still 1. So I equals 1. J equals 3. So now A of 1 comma 3 is equal to I plus J, so 4. And again, A is equal to 2 comma 3 comma 4. So now what we've done is we've gone through this entire for loop. We've completed it. And what that means is we can go back and update I now. So now I gets updated to 2 and J resets at 1. So then now we know that A of 2 comma 1 is equal to 3. Now here's another area where you could potentially make a mistake. When we're writing what A is equal to, let's think about it. So first row stays the same. This is 2, 3, 4. And now we're saying 2 comma 1. So this position is 3. Now, in theory, there's nothing really wrong with this. This is purely a MATLAB thing. So MATLAB doesn't allow us to have matrices of this shape where kind of like we have this one full row and just kind of one element here. In a language like Mathematica, this is totally fine. But in MATLAB, we have a default value of 0. So if you were to run this code in MATLAB, what would happen here is these blank spaces would get populated with zeros. So that's a very important feature of MATLAB, is it's going to populate the missing entries with zeros. So that's why we have 2 zeros here. So now, okay, so I is still equal to 2, but now J is going to be equal to 2. So then A of 2 comma 2 is equal to 4. And then when we update A, we have 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 0. And lastly, so now we still have I equal to 2. J equals now 3. So then A of 2 comma 3 is equal to 5. So the final matrix is going to be 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. So again, just to reiterate, if this was a homework assignment, a quiz, a checkpoint exam, anything like that, and you see a question like this, we really want you to show what is A at every step of the way. So just writing what A of 1, 1 is, or like A of 1, 3, or writing the final answer, we really want to see all of this work. So maybe even I'll box here. This was our for loop. And we can see the work around it. And here's our final. This is what we get at the end. But again, not the most important thing. We really want to see the process behind you getting the final matrix. Maybe one more thing I want to show you. So if we take a look at these nested for loops, it's exactly the same as what we had on the previous page. The only difference now is that J depends on I. And the reason this is possible is because I is defined before J. So we couldn't have something here like J to 2 because J is not even defined at this step. But at this step, we can have J depend on I. So it's going to be very similar to the previous question. I just want to show you how we can do this if J depends on I. So notice we're going to start with I equal to 1. So then the first kind of run through this entire for loop is going to be I equal to 1, J equal to 1, then 2, then 3. So this is all the same as the previous. So I'm just going to copy paste this first part. So this stays the same. But now let's see what happens when we update I. So we're going to now have I equal to 2. And then we go back into the inner for loop. So now J is equal to 2. So then we know A of 2, 2 is equal to 4. So then A is equal to, so the first row is 2, 3, 4. And we know the 2, 2 position is 4. So that's here. And remember, missing entries get populated with zeros. So that's what it looks like. Then now I is equal to 2. We update J to be equal to 3. So then A of 2, 3 is equal to 5. And then A gets updated. So we have, 2, 3, 4. Now the 2, 3 position is over here. This is 5. This was 4, and this stays 0. And now because we've done J equals 2, J equals 3, the for loop says go from I to 3. So we exit this for loop. We've already done the case of I equal to 2, so we're done. And this A here is what we would get at the end of the process. So like I said, this kind of question is very popular for me to ask, very important concept. So be sure to reach out if you have any questions, and also be sure when you're answering these types of questions to show every step along the way. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.